story. I don't know about y'all, but in my high school, in our yearbooks, our annuals, everyone got to have, well, all the seniors got to have quotes underneath their picture. Did y'all get something like that? A senior quote. Think about it for several years. And we only had 20 words, so it had to be concise. But it was, the thing you're going to be known for, your senior quote. Student at my high school, I grew up in Seattle, Washington. Student at my high school had a senior quote that went like this: "Get all you want." And I love that. He might have been talking about, I think he was talking about a rap song or something. He might have been talking about jewelry or like a nice car or something. But now that I'm a little older, I look back at that quote and I think about the philosophical depth of "get all you want." Because he could have meant a healthy marriage. And he could have meant a vocational calling in your work. He could have meant a life full of joy and integrity. But it all depends, because it's get all you want. So I think a cool topic to discuss in the last lecture is to talk about that idea. What do you want? And what will it take to get there? You know what I mean? What do you want and what will it take to get there? What do you want and what will it take to get there? I feel like the saddest American type of story is the person that graduates from college and gets a job that's okay. And they get married and they get a mortgage and they work at their job. And then they got to make the mortgage payment. And then they have some kids and the kids need to go to school. And they stay at their job, got to make that mortgage payment, punch the time clock, and they retire, and then they die. And that's it. And there's little time to say, wait a second, is this what I want? Y'all are in a beautiful position. No mortgage payments, right? No marriages, no kids. Y'all are in a very good position right now to think deeply about what you want and what it will take to get there. So think about that question for a second. What is it that you want? It's kind of hard to answer. A lot of people just don't think deeply about it, and when they do, oftentimes, I'm in a business school, as Garrett mentioned, a lot of times the first answer for that is money. I want a job with some cash. I want to get paid. And I'd like us to talk about that for a second. If what you want is money, I want to drive home what I think is the most important number there is. It's 72,000. It's a very important number. If you remember nothing from this talk, remember that number, 72,000. It's the happiness tipping point. Daniel Kahneman, who won a Nobel Prize in economics, talks about this in his book, Thinking Fast and Slow. He says that if you make $60,000 per household in a high-income area, you won't be quite as happy as someone that makes 70. But if you make 100, you won't necessarily be happier than someone that makes 70. So 72,000, at least according to this Nobel Prize-winning economist research, is the tipping point for happiness. For families in high-income areas, or places that is expensive. That's an interesting number, isn't it? So if your answer to that question, what is it that you want, is to get paid, keep that number in mind. Because once you get to 72, there's no discernible improvement in how happy you are. So I feel kind of selfish, but I'm going to give you maybe 3 responses to that question. They're selfish responses, but it is my last lecture, right? So you're okay with that? Y'all came to hear it, so thank you for doing that, by the way. So here, if the question is, what do you want? And the follow-up question is what it'll take to get there. Let me offer 3 reasons. 3 kind of answers to that. One is you need to have a unity of purpose. The second is that you need to have self-control. And the third is that you need to have willpower. So let's start with that first point. Unity of purpose. I hope you want a life of substance. I hope you want a life that is unified. I hope you don't live your life just willy-nilly. making decisions as they come on a day-to-day basis. I hope your life has more gravity to it than that. I hope it has weight and substance. And I hope there's a unifying core principle to what that might be. And I hope it's more important than money. You know what I mean? And again, y'all are at a wonderful place in your time, in your lives, without the mortgage payment, the kids, and the spouse, where you can think deeply about what that purpose might be. And you can kind of ask yourself on a day-to-day basis, how can I unify my life around that core purpose? Your life needs unity. You want to be a great painter? It's really easy. First thing you have to do is be great. And then just paint. You know what I mean? You want to be a great student? Be a great person. And then go to class. The rest will follow. You know what I mean? That unity of purpose there is very important. I lived in LA before I moved out to Texas. And I lived kind of on. Are you from LA? Cool. Where are you from?
Literally LA.
Yeah, it's so funny. No one's really from LA. I'm really from, yeah. I'm not really from LA. We have a Los Angeles. I was from east of Pasadena, a town called Azusa. Kind of a shady part of town. And I was living in a two-story apartment complex, and the guy that lived beneath me was named Walt. And Walt was a nice guy, but he was a crip. And he wore blue and gray, and he carried a gun, and he sold drugs. And nice guy, but you know, he was my neighbor, and he was a crip. And at this time, this was around 2000, 2001, there was a popular dance that we were all trying to learn. It's called the Crip Walk. And the problem with 2000, 2001 is we didn't have YouTube. So, you know, now y'all can just look it up. We couldn't do that. I want to learn how to Crip Walk. I thought, well, great, no YouTube. At least I have this great resource in my next book. He's a crip, you know. What better way to learn how to Crip Walk than ask the crip? So one day out in the parking lot outside of our apartment complex, I asked him if he knew how to Crip Walk. And as I said it, coming out of my mouth, me, you know, white suburbia, just, hey, Walt, do you know how to Crip Walk? I just can't imagine what that sounded like to him. He said, yeah, I know how to Crip Walk. I'm a crip. I'm walking. He kind of like walked to his car and I didn't see him for a while. Walt, the crip, in all his philosophical depth, was saying to me, he doesn't need a dance. You know what I mean? He is a crip. He doesn't need to dance to show it. Now that's an odd story, isn't it? But apply that a little bit to that painting idea or that student idea. You want to be a great painter? First of all, be great. Have some sort of unity of purpose, and then just do it. The rest will follow. I think there's some beauty in that simplicity. If you identify that core purpose, it will affect you in a lot of different real-life, practical, day-to-day ways. It'll affect how you spend your money. It'll affect what you put into your body. It will affect who you hang out with. It will affect what you read, and how you spend your free time, and how you treat people. That money thing is a good example. I'd encourage you, you want to find out who you are, look at your credit card statement. That'll reveal a lot. If you say you're someone that values helping out the needy, the people that are less advantaged than you, and you look at your credit card statement, and it's like Shakespeare's, you know, go down the list, downtown bar, 6th Street, big bite. Budgets are moral documents. You want to find out who you are, look at your budget. Look at how you spend your free time. If there's no unity of purpose to that, you're fractured. And you're kind of going willy-nilly through your life. So a good place to start with is how do you spend your money? As Garrett, I don't know if you mentioned this in the introduction. I used to play football. Some of y'all saw that on the picture. I played at a small school, a Division II school in California, Azusa Pacific. And I was a quarterback there. And I started for 3 years, had a lot of success. I broke every passing record at that school, and we won a national championship. We just had a wonderful time. And you can imagine, it was a good time. And I think this idea of being a great person and then the rest will follow fit well into my own story, into my sports testimony story. Because it took a while, but eventually I realized as an athlete that winning is a byproduct of something else. That what you do on the field on Saturday was a byproduct of something else. And that something else, I think, is what was important for me to learn as a college student, as someone that was developing into an adult. And it's something I would encourage y'all to think about. You want to be a great quarterback, just be great and then go play football. You know what I mean? That'll take care of it. And that's the beauty of the years between 18 and 22. Y'all are in the process of creating habits that will follow you the rest of your life. You know what I mean? Between 18 and 22, you learn how to spend money, you learn how to take care of your body, you learn how to use your free time, you learn how to interact with people, and in many ways, those habits will become ingrained. That's scary for some of y'all, isn't it? Yeah. Maybe it's more promising for others as well. So that's kind of something to keep in mind. The hard work of the day-to-day will have a great impact on that unity of purpose. So consider what that might be. All right? So get all you want. How? First of all, have a unity of purpose in your life. Second of all, you got to have some self-control. One of my favorite academic studies of all time is called the marshmallow test. Some of y'all heard of this before? This social psychologist named Carol Dweck, she's at Stanford now, did this real interesting set of studies where she brought in 4- and 5-year-olds into her lab, and she gave them a marshmallow